Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the presentation today titled Navigating Colorado's Regulatory Environment. The theme of this presentation is how a single GIS analyst can utilize the suite of Esri tools to assist multiple teams within their company in navigating the regulatory environment of Colorado. So to recap, early in 2021, the Colorado Oil and Gas Commission passed a series of oil and gas specific laws that quadrupled drilling and completion setbacks from homes and businesses. The previous setback was 500 feet, and that has now increased to 2,000 feet. Commissioner Robbins of the COGCC says the setbacks provide substantially equivalent protections for public health, safety, and welfare. The setbacks have obviously affected dozens of operators in Northeast Colorado. In order to address the issue from a GIS standpoint, I utilized 4 primary pieces of data. Possibly the most important piece of data in this analysis are the building footprints. These can be acquired via download from Microsoft, through machine learning, or purchasing them from a vendor. Landowner parcels are an important piece of data if you're working with building footprints that do not have a building type attribute. Parcels can typically be downloaded from county GIS sites. However, not every county allows for a free download. In these cases, you may look to a company like Whitestar to purchase the county parcel data. The next piece of data I'm going to briefly touch upon are rig sound signatures. I like to use generic rig sound signatures to get a better idea of how far sound will travel from drilling or completion sites, and to ensure the pad will stay in compliance to city and county noise regulations. While at Anadarko, we use sound signatures to model pad construction and sound walls. The team over at Urban Solution Group kindly allowed me to use one of their generic sound signatures for this presentation. Lastly, I'm going to use pad locations from a drill schedule. These future pads will use a stoplight symbology to show their status as it relates to setbacks. I wanted to show you quickly how Model Builder plays an important piece in this analysis. This model converts the footprints from a GeoJSON to a geodatabase layer and then clips it to an area within Weld County, spatially joins the footprints to the parcels to obtain a building type, creates a 2,000-foot buffer surrounding the buildings, and then publishes all the data to ArcGIS Online. An important component to keep in mind is Model Builder can edit and publish ArcGIS Online data. By adding the input layer for my content, I can simultaneously update my Pro project and web maps. After hitting browse and then searching the data in my content, I can select the data that needs updated through Model Builder. I also wanted to mention that models can now be scheduled to run at specific times, similar to what you would do with Python script in Windows Task Scheduler. A model like this that may have irregular updates could be scheduled to run weekly or maybe bi-weekly. The models that may require more time or processing power are better off to be scheduled through the night when most others are logged off. For this particular model, I want the recurrence to be weekly on Fridays, and begin running on Friday morning at 4 a.m. Now that the data has been published to an ArcGIS Online app via Model Builder, let's take a look at the functionality and components of the application. Here in Web App Builder, I have clipped the Weld County data to a small area north of Greeley, Colorado. You can see the smaller blue polygons are the building footprints, and the light blue buffers are 2,000-foot setbacks we have been discussing. With a buffer analysis that was completed in ArcGIS Pro, you can very quickly see the open areas outside the 2,000-foot buffer that would be open to a pad location. I have also modeled a 500-foot buffer to show the previous setbacks before the new rules took place. 6 months ago, 100% of the pads you see on the map were completely viable with the 500-foot setbacks. Now, with the 2,000-foot setbacks, only 50% of these pads are viable. Utilizing Web App Builder and ArcGIS Online, we will address this issue. You can see the stoplight symbolized pads that are on this map. The red pads are fully stranded and most likely will not be drillable. The yellow pads are right on the edge of the setbacks, and if they can be moved, could still be viable. The green pads are fully viable and should be at the top of the drill schedule. This app utilizes the search bar to search on our pad locations. I set up the search bar in Web App Builder to search on this feature layer by pad name. I'm going to search for a pad called the stable land pad. The search tool will allow users to easily share data within an organization and also lets any member in the organization search the attributes within the data. So for example, a stakeholder rep can easily find the stable land pad by searching for it. And conversely, the geologist that created the pad location can search stakeholder data like grievances or parcel owners. A layer that was important to us at Anadarko, and for most exploration companies on the Front Range, are rig sound signatures. Generic rig sound signatures can give members of a team a better idea of what type of mitigation should be present and what stakeholders may need further analysis. When I published my data from ArcGIS Pro, I configured the pad locations layer and rig signature data to enable editing. Enabling editing on published data allows a creator to edit or move the data. A user can also edit fields such as dates and notes, as well as add items like site photos or AFE documents. Having the sound signatures of rigs is another tool that demonstrates positive health, safety, and environmental standards. Staying within compliance on sound is a big part of the new COGCC rulemaking and is something that every company should be addressing. Now that I have switched base maps over to the hybrid imagery layer, you can get a better visual of stable land pad and its surrounding environment. While the pad is outside the 2,000-foot setbacks, the pad location is pretty close to farm buildings. We can also see there's almost 2,000 feet of open land to the west that we could potentially move the pad to. I said earlier that the pad data has editing enabled. I'm going to show why that is important in this setting. After I activate the editor widget, I can then edit both the pad locations layer and the rig signature layer. This functionality allows the user to dynamically and interactively share the data with the rest of their team. A common scenario is a stakeholder rep is viewing the data and realizes the stable land pad is too close to a farm. With the editor widget, the stakeholder rep can move the pad, add notes to the land department, and remodel the sound signatures. Another interesting note to keep in mind regarding the sound signatures is we can also accurately plan for sound walls using this data. You can see on this mitigated sound signature that the majority of the loud equipment is on the northeast side of the pad. We can once again utilize the editor widget to address this issue. An important feature of the editor widget is that I can also rotate sound signatures. Now that I have rotated the sound signature 180 degrees and effectively moved the noisiest equipment to the far side of the pad, I have a better idea of whether my pads will be in compliance and what, if any, mitigation needs to be present. So to recap, using the search and editor widgets, I can accurately plan for sound walls, strategically place and move pads, and create an interactive team environment using notes and attachments. Having the needs of our stakeholders in mind will also create positive social and corporate responsibility. The challenge of this project was for a single GIS analyst or a small GIS team to compile accurate data, generate the analysis, and provide interactive tools and platforms for their teams to utilize. ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS Online gave me the tools to easily create the necessary outputs and visuals while having to employ very little custom development. Thank you for joining me today to learn a little more about the regulatory environment in Colorado and how utilizing Esri tools can help to assist multiple teams within a company. If you have a question or comment on this presentation, I want to discuss your next GIS project, please feel free to send me an email. Thank you.